Well, fear, anxiety, which is a form of fear, some people have it, many have it in the background. And I would say there's some degree of fear, even if you're not conscious of it. If you're totally identified with the egoic mind, you will have fear, if only in the background. It may come out in other forms. It can express itself as anger. If you look at anger closely, you usually find hidden underneath the anger is a state of fear. If there's fear, you need to direct your attention to it. You acknowledge that there's fear. The important question that arises is, are there any thought processes connected with the fear? In other words, what are the thoughts that your mind is producing while you're feeling the fear? Is it possible that certain thoughts that you think frequently or habitually produce the fear? Is it possible you project yourself into the next moment, into the future moment, excessively, trying to control something that you have no control over? What's going to happen to me? Or creating an imaginary scenario of loss you might suffer. It's not happening now, but it might happen. And many things that the thought activity, excessive thought activity, often creates scenarios of things going wrong that are not happening now, may never happen, often probably will never happen. And even if they did happen, the actual situation would actually be easier to face than the imaginary situation in your mind, because there's nothing you can do to remedy an imaginary situation except to stop thinking it. But if an actual situation arises, you face it and you give it your attention, and then you take the action that you need to take. But an imaginary situation, you're totally at the mercy of it, so it only exists in your mind. So you need to see whether your mind is creating the fear by thinking fearful thoughts, by projecting itself into the future. If that is the case, then you can see, oh, so I'm creating those because my body cannot tell the difference between an actual event that's happening outside and what my mind is producing. So when I'm thinking my life situation is critical, if this is basically what your thoughts are telling you, then your body believes that this is the actual truth, that you are being threatened at this very moment. The body doesn't know the difference, that the tiger isn't in the room, the threatening presence is your thoughts. The body reacts in the same way, whether there's a threat, an actual threat in the room, or your thoughts. Nothing is happening, absolutely nothing. It's all happening in the mind. So if that's the case, okay, then you need to tackle the thoughts, because they will cause the fear. And how do you tackle thoughts? It's by realizing the futility and the destructive nature of these thoughts and choosing to step out. And what do you do to step out? First, you don't believe your mind that tells you, no, you can't step out, you have to continue thinking. No, you step out and take a conscious breath. Or put your attention into the inner energy field of the body. A conscious choice to remove attention from thinking. And you may have to be really alert to do it. If you're immersed in a mind stream, it could even be that it's so powerful that you just cannot get out. It has such gravitational pull, but at least you know that this is what's happening. So there's a state where you cannot help yourself yet, but at least there is the beginning of a disidentification from it, when you know that this is what is happening. So there's a part of you that knows this is not totally real. In those early stages, you may not yet be able to step out of it. It may be so strong that you're still totally in the grip of it, but at least you know that you're in the grip of it. The worst thing is to be in the grip of it and not even knowing it, because you're so identified with it. It is absolutely real to you. So even to know that this is happening is already a step forward. And then perhaps after a while the energy exhausts itself a little bit of this, and then you can begin to say, okay, you will step out of those fearful thoughts, because they are creating suffering, and you take a conscious breath. This is a form of awakening, and you can observe it in yourself. So nice. It's like a nightmare. Maybe everybody has experienced awakening from a nightmare and feeling such relief that you are in bed and it's safe. Now, it's also possible, some people, that the fear arises and you cannot detect any thought that created it. It just comes wherever you are at some moment. Suddenly, intense fear comes. That is possible too. And that, of course, is what I call pain body, which is accumulation of old emotions that lives in you. And there are many people for whom the pain body manifests predominantly as anxiety or fear. But usually then it flows into your mind also and produces fearful thoughts. So fear can be, in some cases, some of you may be able to see how your thoughts are generating the fear habitually, or you may find that in you the fear arises spontaneously and then usually produces further fearful thought. And that is the pain body wanting to feed on further experience of the same. What makes up its life is the energetic frequency of fear, which is a particular, you can feel what fear feels like. It has we call that a frequency. Nothing has changed outside. It's the same room. You're a totally different reality in the same place. A totally different world in the same place as you shift from one frequency to a different frequency.